Okay, guys, this is the Angry Prepper. Today's episode is going to be on the stresses of bugging out. Now, we've talked about bug out bags, we talked about what to put in your bug out bags. We might even touched on how you actually have to train with your bug out bag before you bug out with it. Now, my group, the NYC Preppers Network, we are doing a bug out walk from in New York City to the George Washington Bridge. We might even go over. But that is part of getting ready for bugging out. There are a ton of stresses to go along with it that most people do not talk about because we haven't had to experience it, and I don't think people are aware of how stressful bugging out is. Now, bugging out is going to be really stressful. I mean, probably the most stress you'll ever receive in your entire life if you actually have to walk away from your home in a disaster situation, right? So now you are no longer in the protection of your home. You're now walking outdoors where you just open yourself up to everything and anything. Doesn't matter how many rifles, shotguns, handguns, ammo, grenades, grenade launchers, whatever you have, doesn't matter how many of these things you have, there is still stress to go along with this. So, first stress is the hiking portion of it, the walking portion. Now, can you compare it to regular hiking? Yes, as far as distance goes. As far as how much miles you're going to put in a day to walk, that's about the only comparison I could put into hiking. You know that you could walk anywhere between, let's say, anywhere between 5 to 10 miles a day. If you're doing 5 miles, you're moving pretty slow, but it might be necessary. If you are healthy, you should be walking anywhere between 10 to 12 miles a day, 15 if you're pushing it. That is some serious walking. But keep in mind, if you never walked that before and you start doing it on a bug out, you're going to feel the effects the next day. I don't care who you are. If you're a seasoned hiker, you'll be able to deal with it. You'll be able to, next day, you'll be able to get up and put another 15 miles in. Hell, maybe even 20. But if you never hiked before, you never hiked that long, you are definitely going to feel it the next day. Your feet are going to be crushed. Your ankles are going to hurt. Your calves, your thighs are going to start burning. So you have to factor that in to walking. So if you never walked that much, you probably could get away with doing 5 miles a day. And you won't feel it as much until probably the second or third day. When it comes to bugging out, there is no 0 days. Now, 0 days are what hikers refer to as days where they clocked in 0 miles. So you can't have 0 days when bugging out. The only time you're going to have 0 days when bugging out is when you are in a situation where you can't move. You have to stay still, or you're injured, or your feet are really badly hurt, because you don't want them to start blistering and falling apart on you while you're walking, because obviously that's a bad deal. So the other stresses of bugging out are also the unknown. How much food do you have? Are you going to run out of food? Are you going to run out of water? When's the next place you can get water? Are people going to kill you? Are you going to have to kill somebody? Are people going to chase you? Do you have to worry about this guy who just attached himself to his group because he's scared and lonely too? Or is he scared and lonely? Is he trying to infiltrate your group? I mean, there's so many things to think about when you're hiking, when you're bugging out, that where do you focus on? Now, if you go down the line of these questions before you bug out, while you're getting ready to bug out, while you're training to bug out, as they come, you will be able to answer them. Whether that's physically or mentally, you're going to answer these questions. But are people trying to kill you out there? Well, it depends on what part of the breakdown period this is in the bug out phase, right? Did you leave 30 to 60 days after the disaster happened and now you have to get out of the city? Because yeah, now you're running into starving people, hungry people, people who want something from you. You're running into bad people that notice there are no cops around, right? Did you bug out right away when the disaster happened and you took to the roads? You're less likely to run into people who are looking to hurt you within the first, I'm going to say, 20, 30 days. I said less likely. That's not saying that the bad guys out there realize what's going on and they're jumping at it on day one and they're starting to attack, kill, rape, doing whatever they do. But you're less likely to run into that within the first, let's say, 20, 30 days. Granted, bad guys are really good at figuring out what cops are up to and what they're not up to. And if they realize there's no cops around, they're going to act a fool. So, along with worrying about the other stresses of bugging out, where are you going to sleep, right? Uh, when you pick a sleeping spot, is it a secure location? Is it going to hide you away from whatever's on the road? Like I said, there's so many different questions. You have to write a list down of all the questions that you have in your head, and you have to answer them accordingly. And then implement them if you actually have to bug out. Now, God willing, none of us has to actually ever bug out, or there's a disaster situation where it's that bad. Trust becomes a big, big issue when you're bugging out. That is another stress. Who the hell do you trust? Now, you can easily say, fuck it, trust no one. That's pretty much the route that a lot of us will take. But what about that kid on the road who's looks like he's lonely, damn near half naked, starving? Do you take him in and feed him? Could he be a decoy, right? Could he be a trap? We don't know. These are things you have to think. Are you going to go into selfish mode and just worry about yourself and your family? And I didn't mean to say selfish mode, but I'm going to help a lot of people along the way, as many as I can. Do not get it wrong. I am going to help people, but I'm also going to have my other eye open to what else could be going on around while I'm trying to help this person out. You can't help everyone. That is for sure. You cannot help everyone, but you can save as many people as you can. You're worried about what's ahead. You're worried about, do you have to kill somebody? Can you actually pull that trigger when it comes down to you having to do that to protect your family? Now, a lot of people say yes on a whim, but those people who fly off the handle and say yes are full of shit. If you haven't been in the military, if you haven't actually killed somebody because you were protecting your family or you were protecting your country, and you were somebody like myself who's never served and who's never had to be in that situation, you do not know whether or not you're going to kill someone. You come down to that moment, and that's the moment you're going to know whether or not you're going to kill somebody or not beforehand. Again, those who have done it know they will, right? A guy in an infantry unit in the Marines or the Army who's killed people before, he knows he's going to kill that dude. A Navy SEAL or a Special Forces guy, he knows he's going to kill someone. A killer knows they're going to kill someone. But those of us who haven't done that, we don't know. So we can't assume that we're going to. Another thing to worry about is how safe is the path you chose. That's another stress. What is down that road? What is ahead? What dangerous thing could be lurking down that path, road, whatever it is you chose to go down? That's another headache. That's another thing to think about. Is there a blockade up ahead? Are there guys sitting on the road, hidden away, ready to rob you for your shit? More things to think about. Now, you have to think about these questions. You have to ask these questions to yourself, to your group, whatever it is, whoever you're going by, because these need to be addressed so that when you run into this situation, you can handle it accordingly and not go, shit, I didn't see that coming, because you didn't ask that question. You have to ask these questions. All right, guys, so that was pretty much it on the stresses of bugging out. Again, I'm not going to get into the actual stresses of what's going to happen to your body, but these are the questions that you need to ask yourself to lessen your stress factor. If you know the answers to a lot of these, you're going to bring down your stress factor probably in half. And then the other 50% is going to be you worried about, the security of your family while you're walking down that road. That is pretty much the first thing you worry about. Then the other 50% is all the other shit you can't see coming. But you have to think about them, and you have to think like the bad guy, because the bad guys, they are quite good at coming up with how to deceive you, how to trick you, and how to trap you when it comes to getting what they want out of you. So, again, be mindful of every little plan that can be implemented, but don't go crazy thinking about all of it. Just try to be mindful and try to think like the bad guy, and you probably won't be surprised. All right, guys, so this is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching. You can like and subscribe to this channel.